It is great to have you on the Family Goals podcast with David Pollack and Pastor Jay. I'm Joel House, and on this podcast, we want to encourage you to grow closer to God, to strengthen your marriage, and to inspire your family to reach its highest potential. This is a special recording from the Graystone Men's Conference. We had Matt Luke, former Ole Miss head coach and UGA O-line coach during the 2021 National Championship. Davey and Pastor Jay sit down and discover why he retired when he was at the top of his game. Here's his story.
All right, what's up, guys? Hey, I'm excited. We got a room full of men. This is a special recording of the.
No, I didn't.
You represent the 47. I'm just saying.
I did. I know. And
What do y'all think with Chad with a?
John was like, "You're just being a suck up." I'm like, "This is." They wanted me to come in full uniform.
100%.
Helmet,
Silver britches would have
Yes.
been dope, bro.
And I was trying to get a baseball sign for you that you
Struck out Brett Favre.
Yeah.
If you're in our church, you've never heard that story before. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to hear that one.
I don't know if anyone has seen the picture of the fish that I caught. Do we have a picture of that back in the back? Is that possible?
Surely we don't, Woj.
that
Surely you didn't
possible
bring
to-
it. Please tell me
throw
you
that
didn't
up?
have that. Stop
Oh,
it.
there we go.
Like, you literally have that on demand. Just, hey, it's a screensaver on his phone. Look, it's my fish.
This is the largest fish caught ever in the Seacrest, which is my dad's fishing vessel. So hey, this is a live recording of the Family Goals podcast with David Pollack and Pastor Jay. We've got a special guest. Before we introduce him, Dave, you want to say anything?
No.
You know?
So why are you excited, Pastor Jay, about having Matt Luke?
All right, so this is Matt Luke.
On the
Matt Luke. Let's give him a big hand. So, Matt is actually from my hometown, Gulfport, Mississippi. He is we're alma mater.
Go Admirals.
Go Admirals, Gulfport High School. He played football at Ole Miss. Go Rebels. Howdy toddy gosh almighty, who the heck are we? Hey, flim flam bim bam, Ole Miss, by darn. And then he got into coaching. And I wanted to just get you to share a little bit. Married, has a couple teenage boys. Share us a little bit about your coaching journey, your coaching story.
Yeah, so to get to my coaching journey, you got to go back. For me, my dad played at Ole Miss. He met my mom at Ole Miss. And my dad ended up playing the NFL with Denver and Buffalo. And then my brother was a quarterback at Ole Miss. So I grew up like driving to watch him play. It's 5 hours from Gulfport to Oxford. But we grew up above our TV. My dad's helmet that he played in, it's set right above the TV with the World Book Encyclopedias. So I'm dating myself, but it's set up there by the encyclopedias.
We had encyclopedias.
That's like, yeah. So for the young guys, it's like Google. But if you want to know anything, you have to
Google in a book.
Yeah, you had to like go to the letter, and
Yeah.
that's where you like did any research for your school. But that I grew up. That's what I wanted to do. That was my dream. And so in 1995, I was a freshman. I got to live that dream, and so that's all I've ever wanted to do was play at Ole Miss. I got a chance to do that, and David Cutcliffe, who was at Duke's, now working with the Southeastern Conference. Tommy Tuberville was my coach all 4 years. He left after my last regular season game and went to Auburn. Well, Coach Cutcliffe came in and coached my bowl game. And I always appreciated this because this was my first introduction into coaching. He said, hey, I want to do what y'all do, but I want to call my plays, but I want to call it what y'all called it. He said, and I had Romero, Miller, and Deuce up here, and they said, I need to call Matt Luke. So we went up there at 10 o'clock one night, and we sat through there. We went through the whole game plan, and he was just like, what do y'all call this? And I told him. He said, well, you know any of the protections? He said, what do you call this? And I told him. And he's like, man. He said, well, you know any of the routes? I was like, yeah. And he's like, well, you're a lineman. And I was like, well, yeah, I've always enjoyed this. He said, well, have you ever thought about coaching after this? And so after the game, we won that game, and he let me stay on and coach. Kind of the rest is history.
So you started off at Ole Miss.
Yep. So I was a student assistant, and then a guy by the name of Joe Panunzio, who's with the Eagles. He's about to play in the Super Bowl. He got the head job at Murray State, which is in Murray, Kentucky. OVC, cradle of coaches. And I had never coached before. I had never been a GA. He said, hey, I want you to come be my offensive line coach. I'm going to pay you $12,000.
Well, I'm rich.
And I was like, I'm there. So that was my first job.
It was the money?
Yeah, because
The
the
money was
yeah,
so
12,
good.
Yeah, $12,000, man. I was fired up. But yeah, so I went there. Then Coach Cutcliffe hired me back a year later at Ole Miss. I was there so I was at Murray 2000, went back to Ole Miss 01. Eli was our quarterback. Everything was great. Single in Oxford, Mississippi. Ended up meeting my wife there.
Ashley.
And so then I ended up going.
When did Ed Orgeron come to Ole Miss with your journey? Because we have an LSU diehard right here, so we're gonna get to
Well, all the people on the coast south of I-10, most of them migrate that way. They're just they're bandwagon. They just kind of go that way.
So did you worked with Ed O? You have any good?
I did. So I worked. So I was with Cut there from 01 through 04. Cut was fired in 04. That was kind of my eye-opening experience. Cut had like 7 straight winning seasons, had beaten Mississippi State every year, but had one bad season. Cut gets fired. Well, the new coach is Ed Orgeron. So my first day, I'm the Ole Miss guy. You know, my dad played there, brother played there. So in between coaches, I'm out going to see Michael Orr from the Blind Side by myself. It's like Joe Paterno, Phil Fulmer, and then Matt Luke coming in behind it. But I'm just trying to hold the class together. Well, the first night, Coach O, he gets there. He said, hey man, I heard you've been working really hard trying to get this, keep this recruiting class together. He said, throw me in the car. We're gonna go. Where do you think we need to go? I said, we probably need to go see Michael Orr. He's a pretty good player.
Good start.
And so he's like, all right, let's go. So anyway,
Didn't know anything about him.
I knew nothing. We just put him in the car and we drive and we see Michael. So we're coming back, and this is it's an hour drive from Memphis to Oxford, 1 hour. And so we're coming down I-55, and when you get to Batesville, where Sal Panola is, great high school program, you turn on Highway 6 and you head toward Oxford. Well, when we get on that, I guess we were in a gray Cadillac Escalade that he had been given.
It wasn't a Hummer?
No.
Get you a Hummer.
Well, that came
Google that later, by the way. Ed Orgeron Hummer commercial, if you want a good laugh.
Yeah, that came 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
I was with him on that trip.
I love me a Hummer.
That's another.
Go get you a Hummer.
Another story. So we're coming down Highway 6, and the country song "Back When." I'm not sure who sings it, but there's a country song called "Back When," and it was on. I'll never forget. And he turned it up, and I'm going 65 miles an hour down Highway 6, going to Oxford. He opens the passenger window and he puts his butt on the passenger window, so his whole upper body is outside of the window, and he's banging on top of the car with both hands. And just screaming, woo, woo!
Back when.
So he gets back in the car. His hair is everywhere. Okay, and I'm like, he said, "I bet you didn't think the head coach of Ole Miss would do that, did you?" And I was like, "No,
but he probably shouldn't."
No, I did. But that was my first introduction. But I did get to stay on as coach.
Now, I heard a story about him taking his shirt off and wrestling some of the players at Ole Miss.
Well, so at SC, he was a special team coach, and they were the Wild Bunch. And so that's what the special teams you had to do. You had to get up, take your shirt off, wave it around, and one side of the team room would say
Our special teams didn't do that, by the way.
The other thing would say Wild Bunch. So
different teams.
But yeah, that did happen. But everybody in the room had to take a shirt off.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So
Did you take your shirt off?
I did. Everybody had to. You run around, go crazy.
So
offensive lineman, I don't want to see him
So
take
one of
their
the
shirt
questions
off.
I want to ask Matt. So Matt was the head coach at Ole Miss, which is a big deal. SEC head football coach. I remember when that happened. I was proud.
And taking over at one of the worst times in Ole Miss football history. There's not a more difficult job that you had than what Matt had. Following all the stuff that went on with Hugh Freeze and all that, it was a very ungood situation. Ungood.
So long story short, Matt got fired. And that I thought it would be good to hear from you, because all of us men, we've been through disappointment in our lives. Not everything goes how we want it to go. There's disappointments. And so how did you handle getting fired?
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, that was the first time. My trajectory had always been this. I mean, from the time I started, I was always up. moving up, going here, tight end coach, O-line coach, offensive coordinator. Everything was always that. And again, for me, Ole Miss that was it for me. Like, that was my dream. Dad played, mom went there, sister's a law school there. Like, that was it for me. My wife is from Oxford. Both her brothers are in town. They share a driveway, so everybody's in Oxford. My mom and dad, her mom and dad. Everybody's there. And so for that to happen, that was a gut punch. That was one that you're like, man, it just makes you question, like, okay, what didn't I do right? You just question all those things go through your head, and you go through all these range of emotions, like, hey, so you're disappointed, you're mad, you're
sad.
So a little bit. There's a weight relief, so there's some relief there. You go through this whole big range of emotions whenever you get, but that's life. Like life, punches you in the gut, and but in the back of my mind, I didn't understand it at the time. But God, He had a plan. Like 2 weeks later, I'm sitting there sulking, and Kirby Smart calls, and he's like, hey, Matt, he said, Sam Pittman's about to take this head job at Arkansas. He's like, I need you to come help me sign these players. He didn't even mention the Sugar Bowl. They were playing Baylor in the Sugar Bowl. He's like, look, we got Cedric Van Pran, Broderick Jones, Tate Ratledge. He's like, all these guys, we have to sign them. Like, I need a guy.
Starter.
Like, I need a guy that could come in and get these. Please, I don't even care if you coach in the Sugar Bowl, which that was a lie. But he was like, I just need you to come in and sign these players. And I didn't know what to think about it at first, but I prayed about it a lot. And my position coach in college was a guy by the name of Hugh Nall. He was a center captain of the 1980 Georgia National Championship team. And he was like, Matt, he's like, I think you need to do this. He said, I think if you go there and you pour your heart, I think you're going to win a national championship there. And lo and behold, that's kind of what happened. Yeah. But it's just funny. And now I'm in Watkinsville, and family's happy, they love it, and boys are happy, wife's happy, I'm happy. It's just been a unique journey, but at that time I didn't see that plan. And I think sometimes as men, we're all proud, and when things don't go exactly the way we want it to go, like, all we think about is right now. But we don't see the big picture. And fortunately now I can look back and see the big picture and realize that God did have a plan.
When you met with Kirby, did you drive him and he take his shirt off and bang on the roof or anything?
No, we actually flew in a helicopter. So that's
get you a helicopter. Yeah. Forget the Hummer.
Yeah, we flew in a helicopter.
So you come to Georgia and had the privilege to get to know Matt right away. His son Harrison is the same age as my son, and right away he started playing on our youth league football team. And Harrison's a different kid, so driven, so cool, great kid. You start to make roots, even though all your family's from Mississippi. You just said that everybody's back home in Mississippi. Last year, it had to been you made a decision. You made a big decision for your family. So I don't know if y'all all know this or not, but Matt, they win a national championship at Georgia. He's the offensive line coach. There's a big reason that happened. Those kids he recruited, there's a big reason they were successful. And then last year after the national championship, Matt decided to walk away from football. And he's not going to tell you this, but I'll tell you this. You're talking about being at the top of the top. Like, everybody who coaches wants to coach at a major university. Everybody wants to win a national title. Everybody wants to make big money. Everybody wants to have that status. Everybody wants to have something that you respect that much as a G on your chest. And you got all that, and you're up here at the top of your game doing this big things, and why the heck would you walk away? Why would you do that?
Yeah, so my oldest is 14 and my youngest is 11. And I didn't want to have any regrets about being there to see them all the way through. Like what's my most important job? To be a husband and a father. And again, I had several conversations with Kirby, and Kirby was unbelievable. Like, his youngest son and my youngest son are on the same teams. We would drive to games together. He would let us go, as much as we could. Like, that's the side of Kirby a lot of people don't know. Like, he's a great dad. He does work hard. He does recruit hard. Like all that is true, but he's got another side to him. So it wasn't unique to Georgia or unique to Kirby. This is unique to college football. And I think the most important thing I could tell anybody is like time, like where you spend your time, that's what's important to you. And I just felt like I needed to be there more for my kids. And the more I thought about it, the one reason that I kept coming back to do it was money. And I'm not standing on a soapbox because I was very fortunate. When I was fired as the head coach at Ole Miss, I had a pretty good buyout. But all the stuff that I went through, it set me up for where I am now and gave me the opportunity to try to give back to my family, try to be there for my family, to try to take my kids to school, to be there at their games, not run up there for the fourth quarter, let them see me, then run back. And so it's been a tremendous blessing. There's been some ups and downs. This has been an interesting year for me because all I've ever done is coach ball for 25 years. That's all I've done. So trying to find my way, how am I going to help my wife not get in the way, but try to help. He gave me some, David gave me some great advice when I first started doing this. But overall, it's been a phenomenal year, and I don't know what the future holds, for me. But I do feel like right now, super happy where I can, we're plugged into a church home. My kids have a small group. I'm at church every Sunday, and just little things where I feel like I can make an example. And I really felt like, I always said this, my dad, he didn't tell me how to live. He showed me how to live and let me watch him. And I think that's very, very important. And I think our kids are watching how we treat our wives. I think they're watching how we treat other people. I think they're watching what we're eating and what we're drinking. I think that they're very, very perceptive. And and I just think with all the things going on with social media, I just think I've been able to make a bigger impact in my kids' life this way.
When was the moment you knew, like Coop at Universal or wherever you were at? Like, what was the moment you knew, like, dude, again, y'all tell me, you're making, coaches at Georgia, their salaries are public. He's making bank, bro. Like, he's making good money, like I said, got all the fame, but, doing a fun thing and you get to enjoy. Like, I think what we do is justify. That's what I've done in my life. Now I'm going, oh yeah, well, I get the off season with him a little bit. Like, I get to do this with him a little, but I'm providing for him, right? I think that's what I hear a lot of people. I'm providing for him, but you're still missing things. Like, that's the decision everybody's got to make, and everybody's got to decide where their economic threshold is. But we make a shoot ton of excuses of we need to do X, we need to do Y. Like, I got to provide, and in the name of providing, we sacrifice. In the name of providing, we sacrifice time. We sacrifice time with our wife. We sacrifice time. For all you parents, you ain't getting back. You're not getting it back. You are not gonna, you can make money all day long. You can make money when you're older. Like, you can absolutely pursue whatever you want to pursue and be gone as much as you want when you get older. Like, all y'all that have kids, we got that one short window and it's gone. It's gone. And it's not coming back. And your influence will never be as good, and your relationship will never be as good. So, like, you knew that, because I talked to him about it so many times, but that moment when you knew it and pulling the trigger, like, I remember talking to you last February when you made that decision. Like, I mean, what was the moment? What was
and again, there was a lot of things that led up to it, but the one you were talking about, it was July 20th.
He knows the date.
So July 20th, it was my youngest son's birthday, and a lot of things happened on July 20th. July 20th was when I was called in the office in 2017. They told me they were going to let Hugh Freeze go. They wanted me to be the interim coach. So, like, that happened on Cooper's birthday. I had to leave McDonald's. It was a really nice McDonald's, like a birthday. One with a playground. This is Mrs. We're in Oxford. So
were you eating?
No, this was a birthday party for him.
So you didn't eat at McDonald's?
No. Well, I did. Yeah, I did. But that was his birthday party, so I had to leave there. And so anyway, Harrison has a baseball tournament in Orlando, but it's Cooper's birthday, so I take him, and we're at Universal Studios. And we're in line, and so it just came out that we could give tickets to recruits for a neutral site game. We're playing Clemson to open the season. And it just came out we can give tickets to a neutral site game. So immediately, I'm on the phone trying to get all these prospects to come to the Clemson game. And I'm on the phone, and I can't remember who I'm talking to, but I'm talking to a recruit, and I'm saying, hey, we got to get you to come here because you're competing against, there might have been 2 or 3 other games going on, and you want them to come to the Georgia-Clemson game. And so, and we're getting up right to the ride, and this Harry Potter ride, it was forever, and we're getting up there, and I'm on the phone, and Cooper's like, Dad, it's time to get on. I'm like, hold on, I'm on the phone. And I was like, that ain't right. Like, this is his birthday, and I'm in line at a Harry Potter ride with my son, and I'm sitting there doing recruiting calls. And I was just like, that's not right. And David sent me a text the other day about cell phones. It's like cell phones, they already took up your alarm clock, and they already, take up your calendar. Don't let them take up your family too. I mean, because how many times will you be sitting there on your couch or on your sofa just staring at your phone, and your kids are over there doing the same thing on their iPad when there's so many other things that you could be doing. Just like, and my youngest son, Cooper, he had missed 3 or 4 free throws. I picked him up off the bus the other day, and they just lost the championship, but immediately we went to Oconee Veterans Park, and we shot free throws for 30 minutes for his next game, and then he made 2 of 4, but he made some. And that was a huge deal. He was so happy, and it all happened because I would have never got to experience that. Never would have known that. And again, I don't know what you can or you can't do, but if you have that opportunity and you have a choice, choose the kids over the phone. Choose your wife over your phone. Just try to. I'm in a small group that challenged me to put my phone in the bathroom and wake up to a normal alarm clock. Which that seemed pretty simple, but I haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
But like it just seems like something that's so simple that But I just think the moral of it is time. Like where you spend time, where you spend your time. I think it's really, really important.
Well, let me ask you this, Matt. So we have a ton of Georgia football fans here. So
go Dogs!
So, do you have any regrets that you weren't a part of that national championship this past year?
That's a good question. But yeah, I do. So Ashley and I, we were talking about, do we want to go out to the game? And we ended up not going, and we stayed and watched it on TV. And it was a little bit of a weird feeling because they're celebrating and the confetti's falling down and you're sitting on the couch watching. And I think that part I missed. But all the little things that go on behind the scenes that lead up to that, I didn't.
Yeah.
All the times that I was picking my kids up from school, taking them to school, at the practices. But there were some ups and downs, and there was some times where like, man, I wish I could have done that. Mm-hmm. But all the things that led up to it, I think the positives for me outweigh the negatives. Yeah.
Well, the theme of tonight is Fight Night, and so we're talking about fighting for our marriages and fighting for our kids and fighting for our families. And I appreciate Matt just being so vulnerable and sharing his story and the example that he is for us. So can we give Matt a big hand? Appreciate him.
Thank you all.
Thank you for listening to this week's Family Goals podcast with David Pollack and Pastor Jay. What a decision. Looking from the outside in, this decision makes no sense. Matt was at the pinnacle of college football, but he made the choice to be more present with his kids and with his family. What an example he's setting, not just for his family, but for everyone here listening. Like Davey was saying, we sacrifice our time with our family to make more money or to provide for our family, but is it really worth it? How are you providing time with your family? How are you providing spiritually for your family? Could you be spending more time investing into your marriage? I challenge you to take a look at your life and make sure that you're investing into your family and not just providing. If you found this episode helpful or encouraging or entertaining, please let us know by subscribing to the podcast or by writing a review. You can also reach us at Instagram and Twitter at Family Goals Pod. Thank you again for listening to the Family Goals Podcast, and we'll catch you next week.